Good morning, everybody. It is May 3rd. It's about 8:20 in the morning. I'm going to do two videos this morning. This one's going to be on gold. I'm going to do another one on the SP 500 just because there's a couple things I want to go over for each, and I don't want the video to run too long because I'm not sure if you can fast forward or not, and I don't want to waste your time if you just want to see one section or the other. So here is the gold. What we're looking at, the Kitco overlay chart. You can see gold is moving up again. It moved up last week and then drifted sideways, and it's following the similar price action. We might get one more push up and then most likely a drift today. I know a bunch of you want to get into gold, and some of you are already into gold. Unfortunately, I didn't get us a buy signal to get in, but not much we can do about that. I'll show you the other charts where I think we might be headed. I think we're going to get a pullback, so I don't think there's too much to panic, but I'll walk you through all the options here. So let me just pull up the daily chart. Okay, here's the daily chart of gold. It's zoomed out. You can see way back into last year. What I want to show here is pretty much every time there is a rally in gold, it tends to move the same distance. So if I was to, from there to there, if you just keep measuring about that same amount of move, you usually get a market top. Now this was a parabolic rally, and that does happen in commodities quite often, but it's not quite often that it happens in commodities. You don't see it too often in stocks, but you do get these parabolic spikes near the end. Anyways, if we keep looking at these rallies, they all tend to be around the same, take about the same amount of time, and I have a feeling that we're pretty much almost at this high. And usually you get once it moves at a certain amount, you usually get a consolidation, small pullback, and then rally. So I'm not too much in a panic about trying to get into gold here and jumping in. It's pretty much gone straight up. Usually when you get straight up, you get a sharp pullback, so that's kind of what I'm looking for. And last year when we saw it break out through the $1,000 mark, we saw the run up, and then it pulled back and tested, and then it even tested one more time before it actually went parabolic, and everybody jumped in. And this was enough confirmation here saying that gold has clearly broken 1,000, and that's when everybody piled in, and that's what spurred on the parabolic move. So I do think we're going to get a pullback. There is a possibility that it could just go parabolic and just start another leg up much higher, but nobody really knows. Parabolic moves don't happen all that often, so it's the odds aren't really there, but the chart does look very, very powerful, and that's kind of what we're just looking at right now. So I'm just going to pull up the 60-minute chart. Now what I want to show here is this is the past couple months, 2 months. Anyways, this was the previous rally, and this was the head and shoulders that we played, and we got that downdraft and this downdraft. But if you look at this move here, this is pretty close to the same size as where we're at now, and so I'm kind of thinking the market is getting pretty exhausted here. If we look at the chart, volume is starting to dry up as the prices kind of push higher. And last week we saw, I don't know if everything was related to the Spain news, but we saw this push up here, and it happened in about 4 hours. And then pretty much the gold is really traded only sideways and just grinded its way higher over the past couple of days, but the majority of the move was made in 4 hours. So it's not that gold's continue to run higher every day. It made that first move in only a few hours, and the rest it's been kind of digesting it, and so it's it's taking its time. It's kind of grinding its way up. But what I see here is pretty much you get these shakeout lows here, and which is equivalent to what I think is similar to happened over here. Then you get these pushes up, and then you get you start to get this choppier action, like up and down, which is kind of a topping pattern. It's not a topping pattern, but it's an exhaustion pattern, and I think it's kind of similar to what we saw over here. I'm just comparing these two rallies because I know some people are a little concerned that they're going to miss out on the next gold move. Um, so I'm just going to show you kind of what I'm thinking and that I'm not too concerned about it. Um, but what happens here is we get this choppy action and we're getting this push up. And I think the distance wise, if you go back and look at the different distances that gold moves when it rallies, I think it's only got a little ways to go before we get some type of pullback. And we might even get a pullback into the 1170 and possibly even the 1155 area again. And from those points, definitely we want to most likely be looking long. But if anybody's in a panic to get into gold, you could take a small position if you wanted to. I think this is chasing. It's pretty much curving and starting to head up a little steeper, and volume is getting lighter. So I think it's just, I think gold is getting tired here, and everybody's starting to get into a big panic that they're going to miss out on gold, and that's actually a sign that the market is, gold's exhausted. If everybody's panicking in, those are the last people pushing it up this little bit, and that's when you usually get quite a little pop. Today or tomorrow or this week we could get a pop and see it stretch up pretty high, and that'll be everybody just completely in a panic, jumping into gold, saying this is it, it's going parabolic, and then it will most likely correct. But so that's what I'm thinking. If you were to get into gold, pretty much the trend line is, hold on, let me get a straight line here. It's into a little wedge here. It's I don't know, if you were to get in, you'd probably want to you could set a tight stop, just under this previous low or possibly under this low. Support would be found somewhere in the middle of this range, like a key support level. So if you were to set it under that low, you might be okay. But it's a $20, more than $20 move. So to me, the risk and reward isn't there. Gold looks exhausted, and you got $20 downside risk. So I'm just sitting on the sidelines for now. If I find an opportunity, most for sure we're going to look to get in. But that's what I see for gold. So that's it, and I'll talk to you in the chat room. Bye bye.